had issued the ultimatum to the Oyo State government. Secretary of the corporation, Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim, explained to journalists that the workers are demanding better working conditions and payment of shortfalls in their salaries since the implementation of the minimum wage last year. Mr. Ibrahim said the strike will be total as workers of the Water Corporation of the state have been directed by the leadership of the union to stay at home as from today.
Oyo to launch a savings scheme on Thursday. The Oyo State government has announced its readiness to launch the state art savings scheme on Thursday in order to afford the less privileged Muslims perform Hajj without the hindrance of financial burden. The scheme, which will be launched by the state governor, Engineer Sheyi Makinde, will help Muslims in the state who have the dream of performing the annual pilgrimage under the state Muslim Pilgrimage Board to do so without difficulties, as there will be a 5-year contribution window for beneficiaries of the scheme. The intervention will be controlled by National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Oyo State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, and a dedicated finance institution. In a statement by State Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Dr. Wasiu Olatunbosun, Chairman, Oyo State Muslim Pilgrimage Board, Professor Said Malik, revealed this in Ibadan during a forum on the 2021 pilgrimage to the Saudi Arabia. Malik added that the launch will be done by the state governor, which will be witnessed by delegates from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Oyo State League of Imams, and Afars, as well as representatives of Muslim organizations in the state.
The Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project has requested Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Ms. Sadia Umar Farouk, to publish details of proposed payment of 729 billion naira to 24.3 million poor Nigerians for 6 months. In the details, Sarap wants the minister to include the mechanisms and logistics for the payments, list of beneficiaries and how they have been selected, projected payments per state, and whether the payments will be made in cash or through bank verification numbers or other means. The organization also wants Umar Farouk to explain the rationale for paying 5,000 naira to 24.3 million poor Nigerians, which translates to 5% of the country's budget of 13.6 trillion naira for 2021, and also to clarify if this proposed spending is part of the 5.6 trillion naira budget deficit.
PDP plotting unconstitutional restructuring. The Director General of Okechukwu has accused the People's Democratic Party (PDP) of pushing for the restructuring of the country through unconstitutional means. He also lampooned the main opposition for attempting to harvest the insecurity and hunger in the land to deceptively capture power by all means. Okechukwu, who is a founding member of the All Progressive Congress (APC), bared his mind in a statement yesterday in Abuja. The Voice of Nigeria Director General was reacting to a query by the PDP, which accused President Muhammadu Buhari of reneging on his promise to implement an administrative restructuring for the country's better governance. He said the PDP should not lose sight of the fact that the Constitution remains the ground norm for any change, no matter how imperfect the document might be.
President Joe Biden will reimpose the COVID-19 travel ban on most non-United States citizens who have been in Britain, Brazil, Ireland, and much of Europe as the new administration ramps up its pandemic response. Biden will also on Monday extend the ban to travelers who have recently been to South Africa amid warnings that new, more transmissible coronavirus variants are already establishing themselves in the United States. The new president last week tightened mask wearing rules and ordered quarantine for people flying into the United States as it seeks to tackle the country's worsening coronavirus crisis. And just to let you know that our analyst, William Zero, is right here in the studios.
Good morning.
Glad to have you. Well, I'll start with the federal government, where it received several knocks for the swift manner with which it responded to issues affecting the House of Fulani, while a similar disposition is not shown towards worries and challenges faced by Nigerians. We see these critics are particularly disturbed by government-led partisan disposition since allegations of criminal activities, including destruction of farmlands, were leveled against herdsmen operating from forest reserves in Oyo and Ondo State. We say that while a coalition of northern elders for peace and development condemned this in strong terms, the burning of homes and livestock, civil society groups have accused the retiring Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu of Bayaz double standards for ordering the arrest of Adiyemo, but refusing to order the arrest of the factional leader of Miyetti Allah Association, Bello Badija.
No, we've talked about this for. In fact, is the theme of our discussion mainly in this country. That each time there is a thing like this outburst, these inciting statements, whenever it is from the north, somehow it is handled with kid gloves. But if other regions say the same thing, we see the swiftness through which the president or the presidency, as the case may be, would act. I was asking myself yesterday, I said, when did Garba Shehu now become the spokesperson for Nigeria police? Because he was the one that was going about banding, this arrest that the IG has been, has said he would arrest. I say, if the IG wants to arrest, it has to come from the spokesperson of the IG, not the spokesperson of the president. But then that tells you the complexity of what we are handling here in this country. There is always this. You see, if they are trying to say, look, let us not make this the issue of Nigeria a tribal issue, but then a thing like this happen, you see the swiftness. One, the president, handles when it has to do with the Northerners. Then there's no way you can be saying don't be tribal in your approach when the president and the presidency chooses to be tribal. So that is what we are seeing right now in the issue of it's a Ibarapa uprising, if I could use that word. There has been this cry. I was asking myself, this cry from Ibarapa, this feeling of being under siege that they are feeling over there, it didn't start last year, this month, or last month, or 2 months ago. The cry has been consistent.
And we even see a report just coming in that more groups, including Middle Belt Forum, have declared support for the move by Governor Rotimi Akeredolu to read on those state forests.
There has to be a step taken. You see, we are supposed to be a federating unit. Each governor has a right to decide how his country, his state is protected. Now you can't continue to dictate from your loft at Aso Rock. And you say to the governors, don't do what you must to protect your people. If I feel that, look, this particular segment, now let's forget about Fulani herdsmen.
Or don't you think the presidency would wonder this may degenerate into what it wouldn't want?
Yes, it is going to eventually, if we continue to handle it the way we are handling it now. Someone from the north said we are the indices of that led to the civil war is beginning to arrange themselves.
Yes, because the concern is how do we unite as a country to fight?
We see unity. You see, the people wants to unite. Let me tell you a story. I was coming through Sango some time ago, and this Mikra burst into flames. There were passengers inside the Mikra, so the passengers were able to scurry out of the Mikra, and this old man that owns the Mikra, a Yoruba man, was trying to to quench the fire by himself, but he could not. But instantly, I stood there by Sango there. I stood there. This Ausama selling orange left his truck, ran to the borehole there, picked up a bucket of water and ran across the road. The same thing that the man selling CDs left his own shop, came to the borehole, picked a bucket of water, and they were all crossing to make sure that fire was quenched.
So what are you saying?
So we, on our own, we are able to foster unity amongst ourselves. But the thing is this, it is the leaders that sees this unity as a weapon. And as long as they see it that way, they will continue to polarize this country. And that's what they are doing.
Or maybe they don't want a return of what happened during the NSAS protest.
You see, you cannot wish away. As a leader, you plan for the unity of your country. Whatever it is that could bring that unity,
How
you
can
are
this
interested.
be done? How?
By making sure that when things are done, the way you treat A as a leader, treat B that way. I must not be allowed to feel as if I'm inferior. And if you give me that notion, then I start thinking, so what makes this person special? And that is wrong for the presidency. This president and this presidency somehow, since inception, they've been fostering this mindset, and it is not right.
So you see an oppression to the minority groups in the country.
It is what it seems. We are talking about Sunday Igboho now, and now the IG says they want to arrest and transfer him to Abuja for prosecution. And we have also, on numerous occasions, discussed the ultimatum given Mieti Allah, the ACF and the rest. They've at one time or the other given their own ultimatum, but how were they handled? So if you are saying let's preach unity, and they keep throwing this thing at us, everybody has a right to reside anywhere in the country, and and without fear of molestation. Fine. The Constitution also say everybody has a right to life. I have a right to also protect my life when I feel my life is under threat. The same Constitution says these things. Why don't we always refer also to those things if we're not being biased or being divisive? So we have to be holistic leaders. Last time I said here, we need thinkers now. Thinkers that are not biased, that are not ethnic warriors. Thinkers that believes Nigeria is worth savaging. We need those ones now. They should forget about their partisanship, their politics. If there's no country, there won't be politics.
Thank you. You can join the conversation by calling the studio line 0808 010 1067 or 0908 111 1067.
All right, Mr. Williams, I want your quick reaction to Sunday Igboho. Some people believe that Sunday Igboho's reaction is unconstitutional and a threat against national unity. Why some people believe that that is the right thing to do at the moment. What's your own perspective to that?
Well, it is his action is a response to a yearning, and within that yearning is there. Now, it is the failure of the official route that gives birth to individuals like this gaining ground. Now, if what should have been done had been done, I'm sure a person like a Sunday Igboho wouldn't have come up. Let's not forget, this same person also, the governor knows him. The governor knows him. He has been on the governor's entourage. Even when he went to Kogi State now, he was also on his entourage. So they know each other. But now this is a man that is on ground over there. And these things has been happening consistently. And somehow there's a feeling of abandonment. See, let's not forget that feeling. It is there. The fear has been rising in that area. They were looking for a champion. So since somehow there was a vacuum that needs to be filled, and eventually somebody has said, look, we can't continue to allow. Right now, have you seen the attention on Ibarapa? So which means the cries of anguish, the cries of misery, of pain, of despair that they have been crying over there, they didn't get to the right quarter until somebody said, look, I give you ultimatum. Right now, you see the attention. We are having a high-powered delegation going there. We are having the presidency. We are having the state governor. Everybody now, we are not. Would there be this attention? But it is not needed. When the people were crying, where were the leaders then? So if that thing that was happening in Barapa is allowed to continue, very soon it will spread to Oyo, to Obomosho. Very soon, if it was allowed to continue. You see, I keep saying it. We talk about peace. Peace is fine. We all want peace. But I always say peace is discussed by two warriors, not a weakling here and a warrior here. They can never agree on peace. It is when I have shown you the extent I'm willing to go to protect my own life. All right, let's come and sit down and discuss on how to go forward. Now, perhaps Igbo has shown that in that aspect. Look, we will defend our people, whatever it takes. Now, it is wrong for any individual to give ultimatum. We have said that repeatedly. But at the same time, let's also address what gave birth to that ultimatum.
All right, yeah, I have the story here. Senator demands proof of soldiers settlement harassment of Ogun villagers. The senator representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Tolu Odebi, has asked the federal government, military, and police authorities to probe the alleged harassment of his constituents by soldiers and Fulani herdsmen. There were media reports over the weekend that Fulani herdsmen allegedly engaged the services of some soldiers to beat up farmers in some communities in Yeweland in Ogun State for stopping the cattle from grazing over their farmland.
Well, this country is a strange country. How we know that? Nothing that we won't hear. You know, if it's a true report, soldiers are supposed to protect, not to be used as a tool against the citizens. But then things happen in Nigeria that somehow beggars understanding.
We have a call now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Jay. Good morning,
Yes.
Williams.
Good morning,
This is
Mr.
the
John.
voice of John Joko. I'm calling from Challenge here.
Good morning, Mr. John.
Thank you. I want to react to Osito Kesuku reaction to PDP call on restructuring. Let it be noted by every reasonable Nigerian that at the heat of agitation for restructuring, APC through the then National Chairman Chief John Oyego constituted APC Restructuring Committee in 2017, headed by Malam El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State. The committee submitted a report on January 26, 2018 to the presidency. The presidency has been silent about implementing its recommendations. So in reaction to the recent demand for restructuring by concerned groups as individuals, the president has asked agitators to carry their burden to the legislative houses instead of forwarding an executive bill to the National Assembly on the matter. Osito Kuchuku should advise the president who rose to power on the promise of restructuring to fulfill the promises said of being economically the truth. John Njok is my name. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. John. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Williams.
So what was the discussion?
Yes, the discussion was about the senator demanding proof of soldiers,
Okay, yes.
herdsmen harassment
As
of
I
Ogun
was saying,
villages.
I said Nigeria is a complex place, like a conundrum somehow. The soldiers, if they were truly used to oppress the people, then they've gone outside their mandate. But of course, we've seen these things repeatedly in this country. Soldiers are used to even settle domestic squabbles. Husband and wife having their issues, you go and bring in a soldier. That is an abuse of the responsibility of that body. But then this senator, as he has raised his voice, let's see how far the inquiry would go.
All right, before we go this morning, left with few options and considering the highly infectious new variant and the second wave of COVID-19. Some Nigerians have resorted to the use of herbal cures. They also want to hear from government what the position is with herbal alternatives. My question now is, isn't it time for government to advance herbal cures to contain the new variant of COVID-19?
See, the time, in fact, 20, 30 years back, we should have to an extent focused on what we could do with our herbal cure. We should have, because other countries that are developing, they are also focusing on these areas. In fact, some of them, they come to Africa here to come and pick up these herbs and go and improve on them in their own country. Then we now start buying these things. Now we should have, but then we keep talking about being proactive as leaders, thinking outside the box. Yes, we have enough herbal remedies here that we could work on and improve upon. But of course, we have not done that. Now that people are resorting to herbal cure, that it will also heighten the level of a mishap that could come, because people are not trying to self-medicate with these herbal cures. Now, if the government had done the needful and look at nationals to come up with something. We heard about this Madagascar, that a country came together and said, look, let's empower these herbal medicine practitioners to come up with something. We could as well empower our own to at least come up with something that we could use as a stopgap. Nobody says it has to be perfect, but at least let's make effort.
Because NAFDAC is saying that the clinical trial protocol of the herbal cures must be tested, even if it will be adopted.
You see, what is stopping them? We are at a moment that we need urgency, we need speed. If you have to stop other things and say, look, let's test this thing to make sure of its efficacy or not, then if we have to improve on it, what is stopping you? Right now, there's a pandemic. The world is searching for a cure. Is there anything wrong if that cure comes from Nigeria? So it seems as if the government and those that are in their various offices, they are adamantly against a Nigerian coming up with a cure, as if the pandemic is too big for a Nigeria to have a cure. So which means a government will be downplaying the efficacy of. I don't understand. We could do this. We could do this if we truly are serious with what we are doing. We have all the herbs that we could put together and sit down together, put our heads together and say, look, if it's a national policy, let's declare it on it. And I'm quite sure in 6 or 4 months, there will be something that will be tangible enough that they can point to. But of course, the government somehow, we are focused on Pfizer and the rest. Let's wait on them until they come up with a cure. That is when we now start saying, how much would we pay? How many billions would we pay to go and procure those drugs?
All right, many thanks for.
All right, before we round off, quickly your reaction to this. Eligible calls for the establishment of more agriculture-related. A traditional ruler, the Ogunyo of Ijigbeland in Osun State, Oba Oyeyode Oyesosi, has advocated the need to create more universities agriculture to ensure food security across the country.
Well, perhaps we need a universities of agriculture, perhaps. But, if there is a sustained policy, we know that we have arable lands. We know what we can do if we actually focus on these arable lands. I don't think personally that we need a universities. We have university of agriculture already. But what their research, let's try to put them into use. Often we see this research from these universities and the rest things, they are kept in the cooler. They are not used. So if you've not used the research of the ones you have, what is the essence of forming other universities? So let's focus. What have they researched? What can we do? How practical are their research? How can we apply this? Let's start applying their research. Now, we have some seeds of corn anywhere, and you see it. One day I was coming from Abuja. I went to Lokoja, and I saw this pawpaw tree on top of a rock, and the seed from this tree, it was so fresh, big, and I was saying, wow, this country has. We keep saying this country has no right to be hungry. We keep saying that, but somehow it still needs policy. It still needs forward-thinking leaders to put things in perspective. But we have not had them. That is the problem. And we're talking about our so-called issue now with the Boko Haram and the rest things. The problems of insecurity, we saw them coming. The state governors saw them coming. But somehow, tell me, which one amongst them was proactive?
Thank you so much, Mr. William Sero, for your intelligent analysis. All right, this is where we'll be drawing the curtains on today's edition of Newsreel, reaching you from Pensioners 106.7 FM. Many thanks to you, our dear listener, for being part of the show. My name is Israel Adejumobi. Have a great and wonderful day.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Inumidu Afonjadideji.